Hey, folks, this is Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview. Tough guy.
Hi, this is Ivory from WWE, and you're listening to the Interactive Interview.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio here at WrestlingEpicenter.com. I am Patrick Kelly, being joined by Nick Knoll. James Walsh might be joining us. I don't know. I actually haven't heard from James in a while, but a couple days. But yeah, Nick, you and I, we have a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do. And let's first get right off the bat. For the first time since 1999, the defending Super Bowl champions lose.
Fuck you. How's that sound?
You know what's even worse? At least in 1999, the Broncos had an excuse. John Elway retired. What was your excuse? You just hadn't woken up from the party?
Based on what I saw, the excuse was our O-line still sucks for whatever reason. Our secondary sucks, and Victor Cruz did not play like a top wide receiver.
Or, in simple fact, Dallas in that game finally played up to its talent level, and Romo outplayed you. It's that hard for Giants fans to admit it. Dallas outplayed them the whole game. It was a great game for Dallas.
Not the whole game. Romo also threw the first interception. The first half was sloppy as hell on both sides, and yeah. But I don't really want to talk about that because I'm still pissed off, and you don't want me pissed off.
I don't know if you ever really get pissed off.
Oh, you should have seen me last night. I broke furniture. I'm not even kidding.
What, do you have like something set up break in case of G-Man loss?
No, just something set aside when I get pissed off. And I don't just get pissed off about football.
All right, well, well, Patrick, I have to ask you, does that mean you need a hug?
No, I don't need a hug.
Well, I'm hoping that will be the transition into the Raw discussion because I do not understand why people are saying that was a good segment.
See, no, I didn't even see it. Here's how I watched Raw this week. I watched the first hour, and by the way, I should preface this by saying that I woke up that morning at 4:30 and was up the entire day, so I was half asleep when I turned Raw on, and I just, like, the first hour didn't even sink into my brain, so I just kind of like, fuck it, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So at the end of hour one, I just turned it off and went to bed. And that's not a reflection of the show. I was just falling asleep, like, literally.
Well,
I didn't even see that segment.
For the first time since they went 3 hours, I actually did watch the show all 3 hours, and oh my God, here's how I would describe it. 3+ hours of boring, bad segments, and then something good at the end. And it wasn't the match. It was just the final shot, which was Paul Heyman being the driver of that car.
Right, that's good, and I praise WWE for that. That's really good, and I look forward to seeing where they go with that. But there are a lot of other things that I just don't really care about, like Kane and Daniel Bryan and anger management, which I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I don't care.
It was this ridiculous segment where they quote said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a vote. How should Daniel Bryan and Kane settle their differences? Should they wrestle each other? Should they team together? Or should they hug it out?" Well, of course, this WWE, people are really stupid, or they fix the vote so the dumbest thing would win. Hug won it out, and it was this incredibly stupid segment that went on for 15 minutes. I swear to God, Patrick, the argument was like that they had to hug each other, and it was just the stupidest damn thing. I mean, it was like someone got paid to write this.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this, since we're talking about Kane, I actually just watched a video of him at a libertarian gathering, or well, I don't want to say gathering, that makes it sound dark, but like, or, you know, the speak out type of thing or whatever. My vocabulary is really weak tonight, but I saw him speak, and this was from like 2009. He's actually really intelligent. I want to throw that out there. Very, very educated and very intelligent. You wouldn't guess it from watching him on TV, but you know, stuff like this, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand why they insist on making Daniel Bryan a clown. And that's kind of like, that's their solution to pushing it. We're just going to make him a straight-up clown.
I mean, Patrick, I mean, this was just horrible. It's even worse is you have people putting it over, talking about what a great segment it was.
I mean, and we've talked about this before, but the WWE, for whatever reason, always has this, there's always an excuse, or they always get a pass on everything they do. It's unbelievable. Like, they're, from the wrestling media and the wrestling fan community, is like they always get a pass on everything they do. I don't understand it, quite honestly, and I think, James is out, but I can't answer, so hopefully he'll be smart enough to call in. But, yeah, I don't know, it's really weird. It's like whenever WWE does something exceedingly stupid, it kind of gets that, chuckle, wasn't that funny because it was so bad type of thing. But if WCW ever did anything stupid, it was the end of the world. And fuck them and fuck, you know, everybody in charge and go to hell.
Yeah, I mean, it was, God, that was just, it was an awful segment. And then, you know, on the same show, they had this stupid segment with AJ and Vicky where,
are they fighting for power?
Yeah.
Is that really where they're...
Yeah, it's going to be AJ and Vicky's going to wind up as GM again because that was so entertaining the first time we saw it.
Okay, I think James has called in. James, are you there?
Yes, I am here. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're talking about Raw.
Oh, it sucked.
Well,
I wish I had more to say about it, but it really sucked.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know it had to suck because this guy has become Mr. We just need to let it pass. I mean, let's just accept it, guys. It's not getting any better, so we should just be happy that we get anything. Cena's not as bad as we try to make him out to be. Mr. Give him a pass. Give him a pass. It's okay. It's okay. I like that all the old men get to show up and look fat and out of shape.
I'm not bothered by that. I stand by that. I don't care. I mean,
you know what? Fuck it. I'm sorry. I ever see Roddy Piper again, I hope he falls over. Bret Hart returns this Monday. I hope that he falls off the stage.
Ouch.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, but
and this is what I say. If they use Bret Hart on the show, which I think it's pretty much confirmed that he's going to be there, if they use him like they did on Raw 1000, it's fine, where he's just like a ringer. It's like, hey, here's Bret Hart. Announce this match, or something like that. But if they try to like do anything storyline-wise with him, or actually, God forbid, try to have him wrestle, I'll just, it'll make me sad.
It's sad. It's like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's like hearing Bob Dylan go on stage now. You know, a rickety old guy, you can't understand what the hell he's saying, and he's using the microphone stand to hold himself up.
I would disagree with that. Bob Dylan actually can have a good concert. Bret Hart can have a good match.
And he can't. No, I mean, and that's not...
Well, he can't bump. Like, if he takes a bump, it'll kill him.
Yeah, God, the guy had a stroke. I mean, at some point you gotta...
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's that way with everyone. It's that way with everyone. Foley, it's that way with Piper. It's that way with Jerry the King Lawler. I'm sorry, CM Punk gave him way, way, way too much in that match. That match should have been bam, 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 King's dead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be sedated. Sorry, but I joined in.
No. Jerry the King Lawler wrestling and getting any offense against the world champion is stupid. I'm sick and tired of this guy being allowed to look like fucking Goldberg at times. And I don't want to hear, he's a legend. Bullshit. You know what? He's a legend is no longer an excuse, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting old.
You can give the legend.
And he doesn't have good matches. He does not have good matches or segments. So, end of the line, all right? And I don't want to hear, he can learn. CM Punk's going to learn something. CM Punk is a better wrestler now than Jerry Lawler was at his peak.
I agree with that, actually.
So, no, don't tell me that it's okay if King shows up and makes himself feel good. Using that same argument, then you know what? Anybody can do. Using that same argument, then the guy that was running Ford in the 1970s can take it back over.
Actually, you know what? Since we're on this subject, I've actually been watching a lot of old, I can't believe we're actually calling stuff from 1998 old, but I've been watching old episodes of Nitro lately.
Actually,
because
I did the same thing, but go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Well, it started because I was like, with the whole Ryback discussion, I was like, you know what? I want to go back and watch some of Goldberg's old stuff. And by the way, Goldberg's old stuff is far superior to Ryback's, like 10 times cooler. Just throwing that out there. But the overall show was very, very good. And I remember in '98 when WCW was actually considered the quote-unquote bad show out of the big three. That one, WCW '98 was considered the bad show because they had old people on top. And these are guys like Hogan and Flair are like in their 40s at this point in 1998, and and that was considered too old. Here we are now. We've got guys like Jerry Lawler in his 60s and people in their 50s getting big matches and getting wins over guys, and everybody seems okay with it.
It's the double standard that the WWE has created for itself. You know, ironically, Triple H is older now than the guys he was calling old back in 1998. But nobody's going to stand here and say, he's an old fart. It's time for the new generation. By the way, when I think about the way Triple H acts backstage, I don't know why, but I picture him sounding like Captain Hook.
Any particular reason why? Which version of Captain Hook?
Oh, the new version from Jake and the Neverland Pirates. I don't know. It was the other day I could do the voice, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I could do the voice pretty well. And I just started thinking, and when I did my little video that I did, why don't they care that I lost? The video that I did on YouTube a few weeks ago about Triple H's bullshit 35-minute promo about why people should care that he lost a match.
You did a YouTube video?
I did a YouTube video on that. Yeah, I'm not on camera. I still don't like going on camera, but I did a YouTube video on it. Yeah.
Oh, good for you. I didn't see that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's just something I did, and it was about that ridiculous promo that Triple H tried to sell the fact that you should care that I lost this match. It was a big match, and I lost it. And it's like, nobody cares. So what? You've lost before. You've lost many times before. It doesn't matter. You'll come back. You'll be all right. Don't worry, champ.
He'll come back. He always comes back. And I love how they hyped up, is he going to retire? And we still didn't get, a clear answer on that. They spent, literally, the entire first hour of the show hyping up his retirement, and then that ridiculously long segment hyping up his retirement, and we still didn't get a clear answer one way or the other.
The thing about it is, though, the reason why, and this is last week's Raw, not this week's Raw, but, and I said in my YouTube video, it's basically, look, when Hogan just simply lost cleanly to the Warrior, as a kid, I thought that was the end of it. I thought, okay, that's probably going to be around his last time. And then shortly after was the big earthquake, avalanche drops, or whatever you call them. And, then again, I thought it was over, and I was upset. There's two reasons why that doesn't work. Number one, Triple H has been beat before, so it wasn't like, oh, well, that's amazing. That's the end of it. And the second thing is Triple H has been a heel for the majority of his big runs, not a babyface, so no little kids are going to be like, oh, my hero's going to retire. And it's just, it's just, oh, he lost again. Nobody really cares. And he's never been presented.
He's been a part-time guy for 2 years anyway.
Exactly.
2 or 3 years.
Exactly what I said. One part-time guy lost to another part-time guy. And they're going to try to present this part-time guy as a young guy. Well, 35 ain't that young anymore. Not in wrestling. So.
No. I agree. So, any other comments on Raw this week?
Did I chase him off the line with my Captain Hook?
Well, I was going to say this. I mean, it was a poorly written show that they had two segments on here, the Kane Daniel Bryan hug and the AJ Vicky Guerrero bullshit, that just were horrible. And it's and you can tell a mile away where it's going to go. And it's I have to wonder how many people actually stay till the end to actually see the stuff with Paul Heyman.
Well, they lost viewers in the last hour. I saw those numbers come out, and that's not usually the trend with Monday Night Raw. They usually gain viewers as the show goes on. So,
and that's without the addition of Monday Night Football to the mix.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but God damn it, I am so sick and tired of these goddamn who's in charge of the show, who's running the show, I want to be in charge of the show, no, I'm in charge of the show, but it's my job. I mean, this is the reason why I hated TNA for 2 years, because the whole, like, Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, Dixie Carter bullshit. And it was like, look, I don't care who's in charge of the show anymore. That angle has been done to death. And WWE, this year alone, they did the Johnny Ace, Teddy Long stuff for WrestleMania. I didn't care. Then they had to find a way to boot Johnny Ace out of Power. I still didn't care. And then they changed bosses once a week for like a month. Didn't care. Now AJ and Booker are in charge. I still don't care. And now there's talk that both of them are going to get booted out in favor of one guy that Vince McMahon's going to pick. And it's like, oh, God damn it. I don't care who's in charge of the show. I just don't.
When we were kids, the WWF was run by Jack Tunney, who only made speeches when something drastic had to happen.
Right.
You know, it was just understood somebody's got to do, and then the NWA, you know, the Four Horsemen were running roughshod. Somebody's got to do something. Well, the board of directors has decided that, and we never knew who they were, but you just accepted that they were governing and they were going to do the right thing. Right. It has to be a simple.
Which WWE has a board of directors. They've used them in storylines of, oh, the board of directors have decided this, that, and the other, and it's like, well, the board of directors make all the matches and all the decisions.
Well, here's the thing. This segment with AJ and Vicky, the thing was that, quote, the board of directors told AJ she couldn't put her hands on Vicky again, and then Vicky proceeds to slap her twice. I'm thinking, okay, I don't think that's what any board of directors would mean in the real world, but WWE has a real problem, and I see it growing more and more each week without applying any attempt at real-world logic to situations. There's making a leap for dramatic storyline telling, and then there's just being lazy. You know, it's like, especially because as Ryan Porzell pointed out, it's like, okay, so AJ gets in trouble for that one time. How many times have we seen various other authority figures lay their hands on the active talent? Hell, Johnny Ace cracked John Cena with a steel chair and broke his arm, and he didn't face any repercussions.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, look, Austin McMahon's over, okay? That's all I'm going to say. It's over. I know nobody's realized that yet. It's been, fucking 15 years or whatever, but it's fucking over. No more. Just no more.
Well, the thing was, and even when you think back to the NWO angle, they started out, oh, Bischoff's in charge. All right, and he's with the NWO. Oh, he's evil. But then they took Bischoff's power away, and that was kind of just it. Yeah, J.J. Dillon was there here and there, but for the most part, you didn't wonder, I wonder who the general manager is of this show.
And you know what? If you want to have an authority figure on screen, that's one thing. But it shouldn't be the authority figure versus a talent on screen. You know what, Patrick, I think you said in one of your videos, says even when they're completely biased towards the baby faces, that's still wrong. If you want to have an authority figure, that's one thing, but stop having them feud with the talent. I mean, Ring of Honor's doing with Jim Cornette and fucking Kevin Steen. Like, enough is enough. You know what? In the NFL, you don't see.
Goodell. Yeah, you don't hear about him.
You have players like James Harrison come out and say, well, you know, he targets me, and Goodell says, I target you because you don't follow the rules. I'll do the same thing to any other player. You don't see Roger Goodell say, well, you know what, James, just for saying that, this week the Pittsburgh Steelers are starting with an 8-point deficit.
That would be hilarious, actually. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's just the constant, like,
you should do that. You should do that, and John Lovitz should be the guest referees for the game.
Yes, exactly.
If
the host does the pregame ceremony
announcements, I'm holding by my book. You know, just for that sheer purpose.
Yeah, well, backstage at Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Do you think he got the touchdown, Chambe?
Guys, you know what the funniest joke would be?
What?
Dallas beats New York. Dallas beats New York.
I don't want to talk about that no more. I told you that.
That was ugly.
Hey, James, Tony Romo that may not be a Super Bowl hero, but he outplayed one.
He did. This week he did.
Yeah, well, okay. After what, three times
it
where he
wasn't
fucking...
Eli's fault, honestly. I know you don't want to talk about that, but it wasn't Eli's fault. Eli, the bottom line is, if you get it to a guy who should catch the ball and you don't catch the ball, then it's going to show bad on the quarterback stats, but it's not the quarterback's fault.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone was saying, Romo plays the New York Giants well. The problem is that his defense keeps putting him in a position where then it's like, okay, we know you've already thrown for 300 yards. We know you've already scored. You've thrown for 3 touchdowns. You got to go out there and do it again. It's like his defense never gives him a chance to beat them. He has to play. Kurt Warner said once about playing for the Rams. He said, every time I stepped on the field, I felt like I had to score because our defense couldn't stop anyone. And it's probably how Romo feels playing the Giants.
And here's how he should have felt last night. He should have been kicking people in the balls on the sidelines because, all right, we got a first down. Oh, 10-yard penalty. Oh, we got a first down. 10-yard penalty. His offense was not – the Giants, I mean, to have lost to a team that made as many mistakes as the Cowboys made, the Giants were extra shitty.
I'll tell you what, though, those replacement referees cut their teeth last night. I mean, good God. I mean, how many penalties were there, like, combined? There had to be at least 20.
There had to be 20. And the end of the game was just ridiculous. It's like, look, it would have been easier if the first time you got the first down at the end of the game if it was over. Because I stood up and punched my leg and said, you mother effing sons of bitches, and swore up a storm. And then I looked at the screen after my tirade and saw that there was a penalty. And I'm like, oh, we got a chance. And then I watched again, and they got another first down. And it was like, couldn't you just break my heart the first time? I mean, God.
All right. Well, anyway, getting back to wrestling,
I look forward to seeing your Rams play this week.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I got a lot of stuff I got to get done the next few days. So I'm going to try to do a couple of videos, and of course we got No Surrender this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's this Sunday, isn't it? Yep.
Well, guys, Nick will be happy to know this. I have posted about it, but I bought Down for Glory tickets, so I will be in the audience at Down for Glory in October.
Where are your tickets?
Not too bad.
Oh, where are your seats?
Not too bad of seats. Not as great as I wanted. Nick will be happy to know that the floor seats are actually all sold out. The bad news is it's at a small basketball stadium arena, so it's not like, the floor area is only like 12 rows. But I'm like right at the front of the where it starts to go elevated a little bit. So I'm about 13 rows back.
Yeah, but that's about the size TNA should be running.
It is. Being fair, it is, because the floor seats are all sold. A lot of the other ones are sold. Now, the thing about it is, and Nick, you have to realize this, and I hope TNA does as well, scalping is 100% legal in Arizona. It is. No, I'm not kidding. You could be standing right outside the ticket booth, holding your tickets in the air, selling them for $2 cheaper than what they have at the ticket booth, and it's perfectly legal. There is no law in Arizona about scalping. So,
well, I figure if people buy from a scalper, you know what? As long as people are buying the tickets, they get the money. I don't care.
Exactly.
I mean,
I bought them legitimately. Don't get me wrong. I didn't buy them from scalpers, but yeah.
James, James, you are on my shit list again.
What's that again?
You are on my shit list again.
Why is that?
You were watching the Democratic National Convention when Impact was on.
No, I really wasn't. I tape. What I do is I have a DVD burner in the office, and I have it set up to record Impact. And what I do is at night I watch Impact. I was not watching the Democratic Convention. I had the news on, which talked about what I rambled about on the Facebook post. But believe me,
yeah, apparently the Democratic National Convention was so crazy that even Jon Stewart was making fun of it.
Well, there was a great post that said, They denied that voter fraud exists, and it happens on their own convention floor.
I heard about that.
All right, well, before we offend pretty much everyone who's not us, and we start flame wars in the comments section below, which James will no doubt engage in. Let's get back to wrestling. I did get to see Impact. I know James said he didn't watch it. Did you get a chance to see it?
I did. Good show. And I'll say this, Impact, for the most part, they've had a couple iffy ones here and there, but for the most part, Impact's been good through most of the summer, especially since they've been doing the Bound for Glory series. Right.
Definitely a lot of logic to the show. I liked how they did it with the Bound for Glory series. Mike TNA said at the beginning of the show, to compare it to baseball and football, this is the last day of the regular season.
Right.
And I like that comparison because, last year baseball had an incredible final day where, I think 5 different races were all settled on the closing day of the season, and it was just a big, big deal. So I liked that comparison. I liked the mindset of, I liked the Joe versus Hardy match. I liked Jeff Hardy pulling out a submission, something that, we never see him do. It was like, okay, that makes sense. He had to pull something different out of his repertoire to last in this series just to get an opportunity to win it.
And that's something that I liked about the BFG series and something that when I talked about, I asked Scotty Riggs this question. By the way, did you ever post that interview, James?
Yeah, it's posted. I have to get it up on the site a little bit better than it is, but it is posted. It's been posted online for a week and a half.
Okay. Oh, I thought that was the old one you posted.
I posted both.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
I must have missed that.
I got the old one up, and then I posted the new one, the next day.
Okay, I'll have to transcribe that. But, where were they going with this? Anyway, I asked him about in that interview about posting statistics after each match, and he said that it would be a bad idea. But my thought process for it is that, well, maybe if you do that, it'll force the matches to be a little bit more creative, because so many matches these days, especially on TV, are so formulaic. And I think that something like the Bound for Glory series forced a little bit more creativity into the matches that were presented.
I would agree with that. And what I would certainly do, and this is kind of along the same lines as the Bound for Glory series, is, and we've tried this before, but they screwed it up. And Nick, I know you were on the fence about if it would work or not back in the day, but like a rankings system. And my logic would be do a win-loss record. Do a win-loss record to describe who is in the runnings to make it to, championship matches. And I know when TNA did it, it was done half as who wins and loses the matches and half as popularity contest, which kind of
That's stupid. I mean, let's be honest.
That's the bad part of it. But
I don't think you necessarily have to use the win-loss records. I mean, because I feel like sometimes when you start tracking that with wrestling, it does get a little weird, and it might be counterintuitive to other stories you might be trying to do.
Right.
But I would agree with, I would like to see like a monthly ranking thing, just say, just, it doesn't even have to be like a whole segment, do like a little video segment. And now, your top 5 rankings from the TNA board of directors, number 5, AJ Styles, number 4, Robert Roode, number 3, Samoa Joe, number 2, Jeff Hardy, number 1, Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
None.
That's what we have a lot of ideas, and I think we're probably the most fair to WCW on this show of all the online, frankly, the entire internet. But WCW,
you mean we're the one show that actually remembers WCW had good angles and good matches and would like to see, and missed it when it went off the air?
Yeah, exactly. The NWA and WCW did that, on the Saturday editions, which later became Saturday Night and things like that, a lot of times right before they went to commercial. And now it's the top 10 rankings according to whatever. Sometimes I think for even a while they did it according to PWI Magazine or something like that. They even kind of make it seem a little bit different, like it was somebody else who had determined it, like a different entity, which was kind of cool. But, that's just, some of these ideas wouldn't work in the 21st century because of all the new technologies and because the PWI subscribers can probably be determined by a show of hands at this point. That's not a shot to That's a shot at all magazines, by the way. I used to buy all those magazines. I had The Wrestler and Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Pro Wrestling USA and later on WOW magazine. I used to buy all these things. I have a whole closet full of them right now.
Are any of them still around?
Most of them, no. Pro Wrestling Illustrated is, and I was actually floored to see that they were carried at Walmart. Walmart actually had Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. Now, it looks sorely out of date. It probably wasn't, but I was almost floored by the fact that they actually carried it. I don't know about The Wrestler and all that, but I used to buy those way back in the day, almost all of them, and we're
right.
I'll see like an odd one pop up in different places, but I don't see like at the Hy-Vee, which is a grocery store chain out here. I will find like The Wrestler in like the magazine rack, and I think if I went to Barnes and Noble, I'd find like PWI, and they do carry the WWE magazine. But, I mean, I don't see a place that carries all of them anymore. But I know there's probably not very many of them left. Probably it is just The Wrestler and Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Right. I remember I used to have a couple of newsstands near me that used to have them, and whatever they didn't have, if I went over to New York, which I did from time to time because I was pretty much right across the river, if you went to the the Port Authority there, they had the magazine stands that had everything you could imagine wrestling. It was just like an entire row of wrestling magazines. But, of course, you're thinking when I was there, it was the late 80s and all throughout the 90s, so this is when wrestling was real hot and magazines were still important. But the Internet has kind of crushed the importance thereof, and combining that with wrestling not being as popular as it was.
Also, I'll say this. The last time I remember reading those magazines, they're always kind of caught in a weird spot where, for the longest time, when you would read, like, those magazines, like, when I was really little and stuff, it would all be the wrestling is real. The guys would be doing interviews in character. Guys would be doing this in character. They'd be talking about the actions in character. The last time I read one, it was kind of split. Some of it was supposed to be in character stuff. Then they talk about, such and such thing that happened behind the scenes in it. And I'm like, this thing really has no idea what it wants to be. Does it want to be just a dirt sheet, or does it want to be like an insider news piece, or does it want to kind of be like a promotional piece of wrestling to push the storyline?
Yeah, actually, I remember the last. Go ahead, James.
Go ahead,
I was going to say, the last one I remember buying was one that, on the cover, and I don't even remember which one it was. It might have been The Wrestler, but it said on the cover it has Wrestling Peaked. And that was in 2001, right after WCW had died. And it turns out that magazine was kind of had a point.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of the beginning of the end.
Well, I mean, I remember the last time, I heard anything about PWI outside of, like, the top 500 rankings that they do. It was just the announcement that it had been sold to Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions because they wanted the Ring magazine. And I guess they were all owned by the same people, and it was you have to take this off our hands to get the Ring magazine.
Huh. No, I have a couple of them that I'm pretty proud of. I have the one they did right after Andre and Kerry Von Erich died, and it said the headline on it was, I guess, Heaven Needed a Main Event. I thought that was a very cool cover, so I still have that. What else do I got? One of my favorite ones growing up, not growing up, I was 15 at the time, was the picture, the lesbian angle with Kimono Wanalea and Beulah.
Yeah.
They had nice pictures in that one. That was a very cool addition, and it was kind of like, it was such a weird dichotomy because this was at the beginning of '96. This wasn't even NWO time yet. So WCW was very cartoonish, WWE was very cartoonish, and then you had lesbian sex from ECW. That was all presented at the same level in the same magazine. So it was just a weird dichotomy of Hulk Hogan against the Dungeon of Doom. Plus, look at this bitch in a thong. Just a weird dichotomy. I wish we had that back again because there were such clear differences. And now there's just like it's way too much, everything's similar. So, anyway.
Well, what are you talking about? Even Ring of Honor apparently is having authority figure angles. So
they've been doing that since Jim Cornette came back. I read the stupidest thing online. It's from one of the pages James likes for our page. It was a photo of Heyman, Bischoff, and McMahon from that when they announced that One Night Stand was going to happen.
2005, yeah.
The caption said, if these three men and Jim Cornette put their heads together, could they fix wrestling? I said, well, no, because Jim Cornette's an idiot. He would screw everything up, and he would refuse to work with any of them because he only wants to do his ideas and do his Smoky Mountain Wrestling style. Oh, yeah, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I mean, the only guy I hate more is fucking Shane Douglas.
And I got to be honest, I like both of these guys. I like Shane Douglas. I like Jim Cornette. Nick, you'll be happy to know that if you ever do visit Arizona, I have literally every episode of Smoky Mountain TV on tape, and that's the truth. Let's see, what else I got? And I have all the ECW shows. So, I mean, I got all this stuff, and I respect the hell out of it, but you're right. In the 21st century, we need to be doing something else, and we're not.
I mean, the thing with Cornette is that I think a lot of his basic ideas are good. It's just that he's too stuck in the past, and he's also got some severe anger management issues. I mean, he slapped the hell out of Santino Marella because he screwed up an angle on a show or something like that. He threatened to, chop Vince Russo's head off. He spit on Ed Ferrara. All of this he's admitted. And it's like, dude, you need to calm down. It's like he should be in the anger management segments.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, here's the thing. That segment with Santino was sitting in the audience. He hadn't even debuted on screen yet. So no one knew who the fuck he was. I'm going to bet no one would have remembered except because he did that, everyone remembers that Santino laughed in that segment.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
I actually remember this because Santino did an interview about this when he got asked about it. And he went, yes, I had not debuted with Ohio Valley Wrestling yet, and I was sitting in the audience with my daughter, and the boogeyman came over to us, and I thought he was going to, try to scare my daughter. So I just kind of started laughing, and tried to scare me, and I just laughed. The next thing I know, I'm backstage, and Jim Cornette just slaps me across the face.
Call. Please hang up and try again.
What was that?
That was, please hang up and try again.
All right. Well, hey.
Okay.
Well, the problem is with Cornette is that he's trying to do this with Ring of Honor, and when I thought of Ring of Honor back in the day, it was the company that was trying to be innovative. It was trying to be different. It was a place where, okay, we're going to mix some of the old school storytelling, but we're going to do it with, some of the stuff out of Japan. We're going to do hour-long matches, and we're going to do, more bitter, stiffer styles, and we're not going to, follow the same old storylines. Well, now it's like, yeah, we're going to try to be 1970s wrestling, but occasionally we'll reference MMA, so we'll be really cool.
Well, here's the deal. I posted our old first AJ Styles interview from 2003, which every time AJ's on our show, he causes controversy. The first time he basically told everybody that he didn't want to be associated with TNA because of the lollipop, oops, here's my boob incident.
It seems like it was eons ago.
Yeah, that was the first. That was 2003. Yep. And then they
hadn't even had their first year anniversary yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Then of course the Batista.
Then in our second interview, which I was a part of, he's like, "So what do you have to say about people calling you a spot monkey?" Well, I would tell Batista.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that made headlines too. But headed back though, if you listen to that interview or watch it on YouTube or whatever, he says, well, let's be honest. You got TNA, which is trying to be a competition to the WWE, and you got ROH, which is trying to be something different. And let's be honest, it's trying to bring Japanese style to the USA. And that's a pretty accurate description of what ROH was in its early days. And like most things evolve, things change, and sometimes not for the better. And I think that's definitely happened to Ring of Honor. And I think that the loss of the overzealous ROH fan is an indication that it has changed and not necessarily for the better. There used to be the very overzealous ROH fans that were ridiculous. They'd find ways to scream you down no matter what you liked if it wasn't what they liked. They were the anti-John Cena.
They don't like
They're
what you like.
anti-mainstream in general.
They didn't like anything, and they would scream and shout you down that theirs was more popular than yours too, which drove me nuts. It's like, oh, we're bigger than TNA. ROH is bigger than TNA. Okay, well, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll check it out. What channel are you on?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, James, now that's the talent, because apparently their talent and their president or whatever goes on and claims they outdraw TNA in most markets. What market? Well, I don't know. What was that?
Even if they outdraw them like in the house show numbers or whatever. Even if
they don't.
I don't think they do either. But even if for some magical reason they got 10 more people in the audience of a couple thousand, it's not really that's not an indicator of anything. The bottom line is you got a million and a half people watching every Thursday night right now, if not more. And I doubt that many people would watch a show that most people don't even know is on TV right now.
Well, I completely forgot they had a TV deal. I haven't watched Ring of Honor since the snafu with the last time I tried to order their pay-per-view.
And it doesn't help that they shoot themselves in the foot with other things they do. For example, they have a YouTube page. They wait 2 weeks before they post a show on there. So the show that's on YouTube, which is the biggest, video sharing website in the world, is 2 weeks old. So sometimes it will be hyping a event that's already happened.
Oops-a-daisies.
I mean, seriously, what logic does that have to be? That'd be like me hanging a sign in my store saying, "Get your ice now for Memorial Day."
Well, actually, one of the jokes was near me there was a movie theater in Olney. It's not there anymore. It closed down, and you'll probably hear why after I describe this. The joke is that they never took down the movie posters or advertisements from so for at least, I remember I went to go see Aladdin in that theater when did that come out? So I must have been 6 years old. And for 5 or 6 years straight, Aladdin posters were all over that theater. And it wasn't just that. I mean, you'd see, fucking Lion King was in there forever. But the posters were all there, but not the movies, obviously, because the movies were, long since on to video by that point. But for some reason, they never took their posters down. And it was really funny, and people made fun of them for it.
Who's this?
This was a movie theater in Olney that I used to go to.
Oh.
Near my hometown. Yeah. And, they're out of business now, so... Yeah.
You know what I saw that was crazy? Some of these, if you got some of those old posters from the original theater release of The Lion King and stuff, some of those things are worth ridiculous amounts of money now.
Oh, yeah?
At the time, you probably could have bought them for $20. Now, if it's rare enough, and if few enough of them are still circulating from the original printing, those things could be worth a couple $100.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, James Walsh has discovered that if it's rare enough and if it's in good enough condition, collectibles can be valuable someday. Congratulations, James. Now you're only 20 years behind the rest of North America.
That's not true. I got an Andre the Giant in his black singlet LJN action figure still in the package that I got when I was a kid because I realized fully that there's not that many of these in the stores. This could be worth something. And now it's valued, at one point it was worth nearly $2,000. It's gone down since eBay came into fruition, but at one point it was valued pretty freaking high. So I've been pretty aware of it for a while, but yeah.
It's funny, that Andre the Giant toy, I never got it. That was the only big one from the original LJN toys that I never got.
I never had Haku or Rick Rude.
I had Rick Rude. I don't think I had, I didn't know Haku had one.
Haku.
Now these are these are the hard plastic ones, not the...
These are the end of him, the end of the road. It was the last series. Yeah, the ones that were everybody got one, like Outback Jack had one and all that, the big rubber ones, yeah.
Okay, I didn't have the rubber ones. I had the plastic ones with the movements, but I never had the Andre toy from that line.
Oh, yeah, that's the Hasbro.
I don't know where I got it as. It must have been from one of my cousins. But I had a little hard plastic Macho Man Randy Savage figure. And to me, it was always so stupid because the way it was built, the arms couldn't fold, so I couldn't make him do the elbow drop. I'm like, well, what's the point of having a Randy Savage figure if you can't make him do the elbow drop?
Was it the one?
Let me ask this. Was this the one with the purple tights? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was purple. I can't remember what the colors were. I just remember that he was. The other weird thing was he was actually wearing the sunglasses in the figure. I'm like, well, he doesn't wear them in the ring.
Yeah, I have that. The LJN ones, which is the big rubber ones, they didn't move much, but God, they looked real.
Well, I actually remember this. I got into wrestling actually right when the Monday Night Wars was starting. So in terms of my early wrestling collectibles, a lot of them were like the mid-'90s WCW and WWE toys.
And WCW did ones that were very similar to those too. They did the. I'll
be honest, the WCW ones were better.
The smaller rubber ones?
Well, no, you mean I thought you meant the action figures.
They had
like the posable action figures. Yeah.
Yeah, the first
they had posable action figures that were, in my opinion, much better than the WWF ones that were out at the time.
Yeah, they did Toy Biz, the first ones, and then WWE ultimately. Did WWE get Toy Biz or something like that, I think? So eventually, I don't know. Somebody did. Maybe TNA did. I don't know. Somebody did. The Toy Biz ones came out in I don't know why I know all this stuff, but the Toy Biz ones came out in '98, and they were the ones that were like the really cool NWO looking ones and all that. Before that, they had San Francisco Toy Company, which I think is a extension of Mattel actually, and they did like a lot of what they released was very much a rehash of what WWF had done in the '80s. Like, they had their rubber ones as well, but they were like 2 inches shorter than the others. But they were in the same, similar poses and stuff, and they looked more realistic. But then they make really shitty ones that didn't move very well at all, and they looked nothing like them. They looked like cartoon versions of themselves. And I don't know. There was some interesting... I will say this, though. WCW at least merchandised themselves very, very well in the battle with the WWE. Because TNA, unfortunately, I go to Toys R Us and they still have only the first series of the TNA action figures that they put out, and I can't find the new ones at all.
You can probably get them on TNA's website.
You can get them online. But
I think that's it, though. Where I think, James, there are a lot. I think there are issues that, for whatever reason, are keeping TNA from getting to a lot of retailers. So a lot of their retail stuff is through their Shop TNA sites.
I know, but it's something special when you go to the store and you see something really cool that they have in the actual store.
I went into Toys R Us. Yeah, I went into a Toys R Us a couple months ago because I was just to see let's see what the kids are into these days, and I was surprised. I was like, okay, they've still got Power Rangers, they've got Transformers, they've got G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, and there was the Thundercats display was still there. Of course, Thundercats is getting canceled, unfortunately, but. I was like,
that got canceled in the name of everything that is holy. The same reason that Kate from John and Kate + 8 is going through hell right now. In the name of
that Thundercat show was awesome, dude. That was everything I wanted a reboot to be.
That was nothing a reboot should be.
I'm with Nick on this one.
What was wrong with it?
It was basically the same story, only Tigra and Lion-O are adopted brothers, and they don't like each other. No.
Same story as what, the original show?
Yeah, it was basically just the same bland retelling. You either have to go all out and recreate the show from scratch like some of the later Transformers series did, or you have to
yeah, because the new Transformers shows are so good.
They're pretty good.
I think they're terrible. Like, I tried to watch the new one on the Hub, and it's bad. It's really bad.
You know,
The Rock was in that show, though.
I turned 31 next week. I turned 31 years old next week, and I'm arguing with two dudes on the phone about cartoons.
All right, so let's try to get this back to wrestling. We do have the Final Four for the Bound for Glory series. Let's have predictions. Who do we think is going to win this whole thing? Patrick.
The leader of the Aces and Eights.
And that
whoever that is.
Well, all right.
It could be either, I could see it being James Storm, I could see it being Samoa Joe, and I could see it being Bully Ray, actually. But whoever it is going to be revealed as the leader of the Aces and Eights. and I'm leaning towards Samoa Joe. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was any of those other two. And actually, now, has a match between RVD and Magnus been signed for the pay-per-view?
Yes, it has.
It has. Okay. Don't be surprised if the Aces and Eights come out and ruin that match, or and attack Magnus. Yeah.
You know what?
They could. Exactly. Go ahead.
Well, part of me is almost trying to think if maybe Magnus and Joe pulled this off as some kind of, I don't know, end round, and they'll both be part of Aces and Eights somehow.
There seem to be so many red herrings going on just to keep us from knowing who's in charge of the whole thing. So I still don't know for sure, but
if it's Joe, it'll be revered as one of the worst angles of all time.
No, it won't. Really? God, you let up on this guy. You're the one person that's never given him any credit. You always find a way to insult him. He's a great wrestler. He does things no other big man can do, and yet you keep bashing this guy on everything. You won't let shit go with him. I mean,
It's over. He had his chance. It's over.
Okay, well, in that same argument, John Cena should be over because he's showing even less in the ring than Samoa Joe.
It says John Cena is over.
No, he's not. Not over with the adult crowd. Samoa Joe is over with TNA's crowd. John Cena is only over with the little kids, and as I've said repeatedly, little kids are damn easy to please. I mean, I'm sorry, James, you're always so hard on this guy. You basically declared his title reign a total failure before he even won the belt.
You've never. Failure. That's why.
It wasn't a total failure. It was a good title reign. There were some problems in the end. You literally have never.
Let's say this: if we're going to base it on numbers, did Samoa Joe draw any more or less than any other champion that TNA's had?
No. So, I mean,
he's pretty much par for the course, so you can't really say he was a failure. I mean, he wasn't an amazing success financially. He didn't take him to WWE level.
He was
what the internet put on him, yeah.
Let's make this guy the face of the company. Yeah, let's make a fat guy in biker shorts the champion. And now he's a fat guy in biker shorts with a mohawk. Ooh.
And he's still a
T-shirt.
Put over
his T-shirt.
No, shut up. Seriously, for the love of God, shut up. Please bring up, he's fat, He's fucking Samoan. I say again, name one thin Samoan. They don't exist. No, I'm saying one thin Samoan. This guy does incredibly well. Well, but you never give this guy a break. I mean, you are so hard on this guy for no reason other than the fact that you said, oh, well, the internet's behind him. I'm not going to like him.
He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that it factor whatsoever. He's just there.
Sorry, name someone that does. Name someone that does. Someone that should have gotten the shots that Samoa Joe has gotten that didn't, do you say has the it factor?
Someone who's ready for it now?
No, someone that
was ready for it then. I won't say ready for it then, but ready for it now?
The question and answer.
If they drop the swaying back and forth on if he's a good guy or bad guy, and just let him be him as he was until he went into lockdown, James Storm should be the figurehead of TNA. He's got it. I mean, he is the average wrestling fan, and he's not ashamed of it.
No, you didn't answer the question. You didn't listen to the question. You went off on your own little tangent again. I said, name someone that hasn't gotten the opportunities that Samoa Joe has, and James Storm has gotten opportunities to main event shows. Name someone that the internet didn't give a chance to that should have gotten the opportunities. Name someone, whether it be WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, that you said had it but didn't get the same breaks Samoa Joe did.
Oh, there's a ton of guys that have it that didn't get the same breaks. Anybody. You can name anybody from...
Okay, name one. A name.
Okay.
Let's
go back to the early days of TNA. Name somebody who was better than or as good as Samoa Joe. I'll even go as simple as David Young.
Fuck no. Look, no one's going to buy David Young as a main eventer. He was a good mid-carder, but he sure as hell didn't have it. He was a good name. He was a good Punk.
They had to get him Punk on their roster, and they didn't do anything with him.
Exactly. They did give him an opportunity. He was feuding with Raven. The problem was he was a younger guy, so they were building him up slowly. And then he got pissed when he suddenly found out he couldn't be a main eventer in 3 weeks. They were wanting to let him go, but you know what? He threw a hissy fit backstage and asked to be released, so they gave it to him. I'm not going to.
In front of that live crowd, he didn't have it, and he just didn't. In front of that TNA crowd, he didn't have it. WWE, put him in through OVW. I think, frankly, he was as good as he was going to get in the ring. He just needed to learn the WWE style, and he did, and that's why he's where he's at now.
No,
Samoa Joe is not. He's not increased in skill level. He's not increased in his likability factor.
Skill level. He's a great wrestler. He's just
amorphous blob. I'm sorry that I don't like this guy.
James, watch the way he throws suplexes. He does it better than 90% of the guys out there. Watch his transitions when he goes for a submission hold. Probably one of the few guys that makes him look legitimately dangerous without actually...
I don't deny that. The bottom line is, though, at the end of the day, I don't care that he did that move. I don't care. It's just...
Okay, let's talk about his athleticism in the ring. How many other big guys do you see being able to jump and fly like he can? A handful, maybe, but not. And the one guy was Vader, and he. What?
My problem with him has never been his in-ring work. My problem with him is I don't care about anything he does.
Right, because you judged him right away from the first 5 seconds because you said, you're the guy that for years was always going, CM Punk will never be a big star, Samoa Joe will never be a big star. And you gave up on Punk, and you're like,
right.
Right, no, you're completely wrong because you know what? Samoa Joe has earned his stripes. He is a legitimate big star based on TNA at least. This guy has done.
He's roughly as over as Matt Morgan was for TNA.
Oh my God!
He's just, Matt Morgan's not been on the show in 6 months, and nobody's noticed.
So he's pretty much done with the company, by all indications.
James, that goes down as one of the 3 stupidest things you've ever said. Plenty of people have noticed. The problem is, guess what? People don't chant, "Where is so-and-so?" when they're not on the show.
No, not unless they're fired because their girlfriend cheated on them or something like that. But no, you're right.
Oh, that was a good time.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you're going that Samoa Joe. Okay, then of the 4 guys, of the guys that are left, who should be aces and eights? Who should be put in charge?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. To be honest with you, initially I was guessing that it was going to be something like a Jeff Jarrett thing, but I think we've gone past that now. So I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm intrigued. I lean towards Bully Ray because the speaking pattern of the guy with the display on his voice, the thing on his voice, the changing on his voice,
the Bane voice,
similar to Bully Ray.
I would say that actually sounds more, but he looks more like Samoa Joe.
I would say so, yeah.
But then last week on Impact, Joe was on screen with that guy at the same time. You know what? He was on screen. He was on screen with the really big guy that they're going to have Aries wrestle. But he was not on screen with the guy that kind of comes off as the mouthpiece. I think it worked. I think they had like a fat tan skin guy there, and Samoa Joe was on the ramp. So I don't know.
All right. I mean, I think Joe is going to win it, and I'll say this: I think he's going to win the world title at Bound for Glory. I think it's going to come out that he's the leader, and he's going to win the world title at Bound for Glory.
Okay.
Look, I know
James. We're speculating that somehow Rude's going to be behind the whole thing, and it's going to somehow turn into a 3-way at Bound for Glory with Rude, Aries, and James Storm.
Yeah. The problem with that, though, is, and it would also be somewhat of a gap in logic, that if Rude was behind Aces and Eights, why wouldn't they make an effort to help him win the title back?
Maybe that's why they attacked Aries.
I know, but why wouldn't they do that before his match with Aries, before Aries' match with Rude?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I don't know. There was a somewhat different angle with in Shikara recently, where it came to a head with a guy and it just so happened an angle started on the same night that like one of the bigger heels lost a loser leaves town match, and a lot of people thought, well, that's his way back in. Everyone's kind of saying, yeah, but why would this guy not have the bad guys help him, win the world title?
Right.
It's just, I mean, yeah, but Bobby Roode is a good person, though, because what is he doing right now? He's kind of lost in the shuffle, isn't he?
He's doing the whole thing. He's like, I lost, so I took my ball and went home. That's kind of what they're doing with him at the moment. He's off TV for now.
Yeah. But you know what? I kind of like that they're doing that because there's so much going on with Roode that if he were still on TV, he might actually come off as more lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, this isn't how I would have booked it. I don't see why it's not going to be Roode and Storm in the main event of Bound for Glory. I mean, that was kind of where I felt we were heading. Obviously, it changed.
Because Aries got hotter. They struck when the iron was hot. People were behind Austin Aries, and they said, you know what? We've probably made the mistake a couple times of holding off way too long with guys and not giving them the world title. The people do want to see this guy get the main event, and you know what? We're gonna put the world title on him, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's a way to go. Probably not the way I'd have gone, but I'm enjoying the show, so I can't say too much. I wouldn't have bought tickets if I wasn't enjoying the show. So.
Well, will you give your tickets a refund if it's Samoa Joe in the main event?
No, I'll go and I'll be one of the people chanting "you fat fuck" at him and things like that around. So.
Are you going to be on the camera side?
What's that again?
Are you going to be on camera side?
Actually, I think I'm going to be kind of like over the turnbuckle, so I'll be probably right out of camera angle. But
okay, just flip off Joe when he comes out.
You'll see me. My 11-year-old wants to wear my Hulk Rules '80s Tearaway Hogan shirt to the event.
I have a feeling, Joe, knowing James, you'll show up with a sign that reads "Deport Joe," even though he's an American citizen.
No, I wouldn't deport Joe. I mean,
well, no, even Nick, you would hate a Batman reboot just because they kill his parents again. Because, telling the same story over and over again for a reboot is stupid.
Did I say that?
No, Nick said that.
What? When did I say that?
You said it. Well, you said the new Thundercat sucks because they just told the same story again, which don't all reboots do that? So next time they reboot Batman and they kill his parents, I'll be sure to shit on it for telling the same story again.
Yeah, but you know what? They approached it differently, though. In the Tim Burton Batman movies, it was this revelation that, oh, my God, the Joker was the one that did it. In Batman Begins...
in the new Thundercats, they said that Mumra was behind the whole thing, which that was not the case in the original.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I've never watched Thundercats, but just hearing you guys talk about it makes me think it had to suck because you guys get all fangirl about it.
You know what? The reason why I hated the new Thundercats is very simple, and that is I don't like anime, and it was clearly meant to fit into that mold with the...
Well, so was the original.
The way it was drawn, though, it was drawn with the stupid-ass spiky hairs and shit, and it just drove me nuts. It was clearly...
I'll give you that. The Lino spiky hair was stupid. I didn't like that. But the original show was animated in Japan and had an anime influence.
It might have, and it did, and I don't deny that. I just don't... I think that the spikiness of it all just made it kind of feel a little bit too much like all of a sudden we're going to be playing in an alternate universe with alternate realities where the world is determined by card games and shit like that, and it's like, I'm not interested.
Okay, I understand a lot of that stuff is stupid, but I didn't think Thundercats had those elements outside of the look.
And the new ones probably didn't. It was more the physical appearance of it that I objected to.
Okay.
So I didn't get a chance because I'm closed-minded and a prick.
Yes, you are. Very much so.
Plus, I didn't watch it because no offense, Beth, but I'm not 8.
Do you ban anime in your house? We don't watch that Japanese crap in my house.
Don't ban it, but I strongly discourage it.
Why do I have a feeling that James just pretty much tries to discourage anything that got popular post-1989?
I mean, trying new things is good. I watched Avatar. Not the fucking awful James Cameron movie, but the cartoon that came out like 9 years ago.
That was pretty good.
Really good. It is very good.
I don't dislike everything that's new. I just don't like everything that is new because it's new. And I don't like anime. I'm sorry. I don't. Look, I'm probably what you would consider to be a nerd based on my wrestling obsession, and I do love old school cartoons, and I do love a lot of cartoons, probably more than any grown man should. But I don't think that it's a good thing for anybody's psyche to think that the world of any world is determined based on some ridiculous rollerball card game.
Right.
James, don't.
We should all believe that the world is determined between a war between two transforming groups of robots named Autobots and Decepticons.
That's better, in my opinion, that's better than teaching the kids that if they get in trouble with bullies at school, all they really need to do is draw a Doom card. You fucking nerd. I can flush your head in the toilet myself, and I'm not even cool.
Well, personally, there are some anime that I do enjoy. I'm not a huge anime fan, and the ones that James is talking about are really fucking stupid, like Pokemon and Digimon and that fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! They're all horrible.
That's the kind of stuff I hate.
I'm sorry for those shows. You know, I'm going to stop you guys right there. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was fucking awesome. And second off, Pokemon did not suck.
I hate it.
What did not suck?
Digimon and Pokemon were great. I loved those things as a kid growing up.
I'm convinced that
Pokemon was the thing. It was Pokemon was the precursor to John Cena. It was the most blatant, child manipulation, mass marketing I've ever seen in my life. It was. I have to applaud it. It was capitalism at its finest. I mean, I should applaud it, but it was marketing manipulation.
Did South Park not hammer that nail home pretty much perfectly?
Did they?
I agree with you that you can't let the kids going completely insane with, buying every single freaking thing. But I loved playing the video game as a kid. I didn't buy the cars, but I did watch the TV show when I was younger. I mean,
well, the tagline of the show was "Got to catch them all," which is a brilliant catchphrase because we got to catch them all and buy everything.
But hold on, you guys were more children of the '80s. You're telling me that in the '80s, when they would bring out brand new Transformers and G.I. Joe, gear every year without fail, that you weren't going, Mom, Dad, I want this. Like it's a brand new.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I had He-Man.
Transformers did a whole movie which was about killing off every character you knew so they could promote a whole new toy line.
The difference, though, with the shows that I watched is that there was a morality to them and a basis in, good versus evil, whereas Pokemon was literally just about, hey, let's kidnap animals and force them to fight for my own personal glory. Because, Michael Vick would totally approve of this.
Damn it, you stole my line.
They should rename Pokemon the Michael Vick Show, because that's what he does. Or used to do until he got caught.
You guys are insane. You guys are just bitter because the world moved on past 1980. I gotta show this clip to some of the people I went to high school with, and you guys thought I was weird for liking older music. These guys won't give anything a break.
Well, I like new stuff. I like my old stuff too. Best of both worlds.
Like new stuff. Retelling of old stuff.
No, well, I just said I like Avatar, and that's fairly new.
It's new and it's 10 years old. You're like my dad on Netflix.
They just did a sequel show, Legend of Korra, and I really like that too.
And James has gone completely silent. This was a weird episode. We barely talked about wrestling. And when we did, me and James got into a yelling match with each other.
Yeah, well, no surrenders this Sunday, and I think, okay, who are we picking in the Bound for Glory series? I'm going with, it's either going to be, God, I could see anybody but Jeff Hardy, really. I could see it be any one of them. I'm still leaning towards Joe, but we'll see.
You know what? There's a part of me that could see it being Jeff Hardy. I think they saw a lot of potential in a heel Jeff Hardy, which is why they did it a couple of years ago. the hope would be this time he keeps his fucking head on straight.
See, that's my fear of doing it. It's like they gave him that push before, and he fell off a fucking cliff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I've heard the good news is that a lot of people have said it does appear like this time Jeff really has turned his life around. It's legit. And you cross your fingers, hey, look, maybe this guy finally did hit rock bottom and it all sank in and he's dealing with whatever he needs to deal with. And if he gets cravings or starts feeling, the need to do that stuff, he goes to a fucking meeting or something.
Right. So, yeah. Are we done, or are we still going? Did you have something to say, James?
I think we were done a long time ago. We just didn't stop recording.
All right. Well, we better cut it off there. Is there anything else you want to say before we go, Nick?
No, because then James will show up and we'll start ranting at each other again.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for listening to this insane psychobabble from all three of us. For James Walsh and Nick Knoll, I am Patrick Kelly saying thank you for listening to us, and stay tuned for more.